Good morning, everybody. It's Chad from Stick. It's time for me to make a cup of coffee this morning. I figured while I'm doing it, I might as well just take just a couple of minutes and show you a new piece of kit that I have. For those of you that follow me on Facebook, you're probably already aware of what I'm going to show you. But like I said, I figured I'd take the time and just kind of show you something new that I have. Something I'm going to be using on my next trip, possibly the next 2 trips. Pretty happy with it, I think. But anyway, it's a cook kit, as you may can guess here. This is just my MLD 475 milliliter cup. I've already got my coffee and everything in there. I am a fan of instant coffee. Got that all together. I've just got some SLX denatured alcohol in a little bottle here. And I've got 400 milliliters of water in my Nalgene. For my coffee, I usually take about 400 milliliters of water to make my drink, so that's what I've got here. And then this is the cook kit that I'm going to be using. This is just a ZPacks Cuben fiber stuff sack that I've got it all in. And just so you know, everything that's right here weighs 5.9 ounces. Not super light, but it's quite light for sure. As well, it's a very durable setup. Now what I have here is my 0.9 liter. Uh-oh, my stuff's blown away. This is a 0.9 liter Ultralight Evernew titanium cook pot. It is the short wide version. And then what I've done is I've made a different lid for it from what I had on it. The lid that came with it weighed 1.1 ounces. This is just some of the titanium foil from Thai Goat, 0.005 inches thick. And all I did was I used the lid, drew out a pattern around the Thai foil, cut it out, put a little hole in it to relieve some of the pressure, not that it's going to really build up a lot, and then I just used some aluminum tape to make a little tab. And this weighs 0.3 ounces, so by going to this from the other stock lid, I saved 0.8 ounces, and it just kind of fits right in there. Does a pretty good job. Now this is the new piece of kit that I've got here. This is the Trail Design Sidewinder Caldera cone. It's the Sidewinder model, so it will fit inside the cook pot. The regular Caldera cones will not fit inside the cook pot. You have to go with the Sidewinder version. So this is what I've got. This is the new piece that I've got that I'm using with all of this. And then inside of here, I have just a little measuring cup for my fuel. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. Also too, just in case you're wondering, what's interesting, I can fit everything that's in here inside there, and fits inside there, so that even opens up more room inside my cook pot. So, but I don't have any plans to carry anything else inside my cook pot, so I'm not going to be doing that, just to kind of keep everything from rattling around. I don't know, we'll see. I will say that I don't store my fuel bottle inside my cook pot because it could leak. There's always potential for it to leak. So I don't ever store my fuel inside my cook pot. I always store it on the outside of my pack. But anyway, that's the Trail Designs Sidewinder cone, and I'll just take it out and show you here. This is made out of titanium. So since it's made out of titanium, I can use this for any sort of fire. I can use it for wood, esbit, or alcohol. At the moment I'm using it for alcohol. And then that's the cone there. You see he's got Evernew 9 Sidewinder. And then, like I said, my fuel cup, measuring fuel cup. This is just a piece of light load towel. I actually cut, I'm wanting to say maybe it's a 12 by 12 is what it comes in, and then I cut it in half. And I mean, that's all I take, and this is just kind of the dry out whatever I may need. Of course, a mini Bic. This is the Starlight Stove with the lid. This is the modified stove. As you can see, it's got that inner ring around it. He makes 2 different versions of these. The regular version doesn't have this inner ring, so it burns a little bit faster. He designed this to work with the Caldera cones, just because the Caldera cones they fit so flush against the pot, there's not as much air circulation going up through the area underneath the pot, in the windscreen and everything. So he put this little ring around it to kind of close off the burning area, and what that does is it makes it burn a little bit slower. So you do end up with slightly longer boil times, but you also get longer burn times, and it also seems to be a bit more efficient than a stove that just, flames on super high. But anyway, that's the Starlight from Zelf, and it has the lid. And just so you know, that weighs 0.6 ounces. And then this is just a piece of foil. I had some tooling foil, and I've cut that out, and that's just my ground protector, and it sets my stove on. And of course, my cook pot just fits right inside there, just like so. Now I want to say that the way these Caldera cones are designed, you can see there's two sets of holes here. Ideally, if you're using this in Esbit mode, the cook pot would just go right in. You would get the cook pot closer down to the ground than you would with the others. If you're using it in alcohol, and when I say that, I'm specifically talking about the 1210 alcohol stove that you get from Trail Designs, you would put stakes in these bottom holes. That way when you put it in, it would lift the bottom of the cook pot up just a little bit to make it work the way it was designed to with the 1210 alcohol stove. And then if you're using this in wood mode, you would put your stakes in the top set of holes there, and then that would allow the cook pot to sit closer up to the top of the cone, and then you would have this little area to feed your sticks, twigs, your tinder through to keep the fire going. So I like that I can use this with any sort of fuel. For the next trip, I'm going to be using the Starlight Stove, so it's going to be alcohol for sure. However, I always have the option, if I run out of alcohol fuel, I always have the option of using this in wood burning mode. The only issue is I might get a little bit of soot or something like that on it, but that's just part of it sometimes. So what I'm going to do here, oh yeah, what I was talking about a while ago, like I said, there's the different levels. Now I want to say that since I've got this, I've used it about 3 or 4 times with this, and each time I've always just put the cook pot straight down in there rather than putting the stakes in the bottom. To get it just a little bit closer to this stove, because this stove is just a little bit shorter than the 1210 alcohol stove. So I feel like that's making up the difference. And so far I've had pretty good results doing it like that. So that's the way I'm planning on using it. That's the way I'm going to use it. Now, the way I'm going to do this, like I said, I've got SLX denatured alcohol. I've got this little measuring cup. And talking about measuring cups, I want to say you really got to be careful with these measuring cups, because this measuring cup is not accurate. I've probably got about 7 or 8 of these little bitty, just these little flexible measuring cups. And after using a syringe to draw up my fuel, I've noticed that these are about 3 or 4 milliliters short of what they actually should be, at least once you get up to about 25 milliliters. I don't know if the markings on it have just not been put on there correctly, but I found that if I fill this up to 25 milliliters, I've actually only got about 21 or 22 milliliters. So what I do is I just kind of fill it up between, I'm going to use, if I'm going to boil 3 cups of water in this cook pot, I'm going to fill it up just a little bit over 25 milliliters according to this. So it'll give me about 23 or 24 milliliters, and that is enough to bring even ice cold water to a boil. However, this morning, like I said, I'm just doing 400 milliliters, so I'm just going to fill it up to the 15 milliliter mark, and that should give me about 12 to 13 milliliters of actual fuel, and then I'll just pour it in here. So go ahead and get this stuff going here instead of wasting camera time. Like I said, that's about 400 milliliters of fuel there, which is enough for my coffee. Stick my lid on there. It's about 15 milliliters. Well, like I said, it's filled up to the 15. It doesn't necessarily mean it's 15 mils. And go ahead and pour that in. And this is what I love about the Starlight Stove, is there's no priming, nothing. All you do is just pour the fuel in, and then you can go. Let's go ahead and light that. Let me see here. Before I light it, I am going to start a timer. Well, not before. Of course, with alcohol, you got to be careful. because it may look like it's not on, but it actually is. Hit start on my timer, and then that's it. Go ahead and cut this film off, that way you don't have to sit here and just watch it, just do nothing. I'll bring it back on once the water comes to a boil. I will say it's probably going to take about 8 to 9 minutes, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit less, depending on if the wind keeps blowing or not. Like I said, that since that modified stove, it does have the smaller inner ring. It does burn just a little bit slower, which means you have slower boil times, but it's more efficient on fuel. Like I said, if I fill this up to the 15 milliliter mark, it's actually about 12 to 13 milliliters of fuel. And 12 to 13 milliliters of fuel for 400 milliliters of water, which, just so you know, is about 14 ounces of water. That's not too bad. So I'm pretty happy with it. But anyway, guys, like I said, I got my coffee here. And I'll let this come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll turn you back on. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. It's been, well, you can see that, 7 minutes and about 45 seconds, so almost 8 minutes. Not quite a hard rolling boil. Don't know if you can see that, but there's actually a bunch of tiny little bubbles going on inside there. So that would be considered boiling for me, especially for just a cup of coffee, and especially if I'm using just filtered water. And there is some wind blowing out here. I don't know if it's picking up in this camera. I'll admit this camera's been pretty good about having some wind block. So, but there it is. That's a good rolling boil there. What I'll do is just dry my lid off on my pants, and then go ahead and there we go. That's actually 400 milliliters in my cup, and I've got a little bit of water left over if I wanted to, you know, clean up or anything with. So I could actually get away with less than 400 milliliters. However, that's what I've got for now. I'm going to get rid of that. And the way I dry my pots out here, there's still a little bit of flame going. So just kind of stick that over it and watch the bottom. It dries the pot pretty quick. Doesn't really mess up the pot. Now, I always heard don't stick cook pots over a flame that doesn't have anything in it. Well, as long as you don't do it very long, it's not going to mess up anything. Just real bad. Good way to dry the pot out. Make sure it's dry. Because I will say I do bring my light load towel to dry my cook pot out if I need to. But to be quite honest, I found that those light load towels, they take quite a while to dry out once you get them wet. So anyway, pretty much got my pot dried out for the most part. So I'm going to let that burn out. The cool thing about this stove is, if you can see it in there, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. The cool thing about this stove is that if I wanted to, I could blow this out, let it cool off, put the lid on it, and actually save the remaining bit of fuel that's in there. However, right here at home, I'm not too worried about it. On the trail, I definitely would, just to take advantage of saving every bit of fuel that I possibly can while I'm on the trail. Like I said, my next trip coming up, me and a buddy is going to be, we're going to be hiking the Foothills Trail. For that trail, I'll be bringing 4 ounces of the same fuel that I'm using here. It's still going just a little bit, and we're at 11 minutes there. There's still flame going. But anyway, we're going to be hiking that. I'm bringing 4 ounces of the SLX denatured alcohol. And with that, I plan on cooking 1, 2, 3 dinners and 3 breakfasts. So, like I said, the way I've got it divvied up is I'll use 25 milliliters of fuel for dinners and 15 milliliters of fuel for breakfast, because all I'm doing is just making coffee. I want to say also, off a little bit. I want to say that whenever I drew up my fuel and placed inside my fuel bottle, I actually used a syringe to draw it all up. So actually, I said actually a lot. But anyway, I've actually got more fuel. I've probably got about 8 or 9, somewhere 8 to 10 milliliters of fuel extra, just because I used a syringe to draw it up rather than this little measuring cup here. So I should have plenty of fuel. Anyway, that's all. I think that stove's about out. Yeah, I think it's out. Go ahead and pack this back up. Set the cone. Just roll up. It goes back inside this little Tyvek sleeve. If you decide to buy one of these, or if you already have one, you'll know. But if you do decide to buy one of these, the cone will come wrapped up in this Tyvek sleeve. Make sure you don't cut the sleeve, because it's actually the sleeve. You know, you actually use that. You can see I can grab that now. Go ahead and stick that back in the bottom. This is cool enough. Well, let me wait, it's just a little bit warm. Go ahead and put that in. What I have been doing is taking my fuel bottle, my measuring cup, and sticking inside there. That way if there's any extra fuel, it won't drip out inside the pan, which there shouldn't be. Go ahead and put my lighter in there. A light load towel. That should be pretty good. Drop that back in there, and that's pretty much it. Put my lid back on. And I want to say too, this lid, of course, going with this tie foil lid, I did lose some durability over the lid that came with it. However, the cone and everything sits in there, so I can't really put too much of pressure on this without hitting something inside the stove. So this should work pretty well. And then go ahead and put it back in the cook kit stuff sack. I will say this stuff sack is pretty tight, so it just fits. And then there I go. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them below. I'll do my best to get back to you, answer any of those questions you have, or reply to the comments. And guys, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Later.